how can you clear up the energy, the feng shui of your business, and allow for more to come in?
So it doubles the energy. And of course, if you're single, definitely cover the mirrors, because otherwise you double your loneliness. Based on my birthday, I have 4 directions that work well for me. I have a success, relationship, health, and wisdom.
So how does feng shui really help that reprogramming of your subconscious mind?
Something so powerful is that a lot of people do law of attraction, they don't have seen the results. And I always go back to what my grandmaster told me. My grandmaster said to me there are 3 parts of the law of attraction. The first part is what he calls the spiritual part. If people say, well, I do meditation, but there's all chaos around them, so then the first thing I would say, you cannot go and do spiritual practices with everything around you that is in a mess. That is just not possible. 24 quantum colors, that gives us faster access to the quantum physics field. Yeah. And so when we connect in with that subconsciousness in the right way, with that quantum field in the right way, that we have, literally, I'm talking now to you, but I see the door. The moment you see the door, you are in what we call alpha position. So you are in control of the situation. First of all, they get faster concentrated. They are in control of their life. They also see opportunities coming in. They're much more focused towards creativity and towards solutions.
Hey y'all, welcome back to Transformation to Expansion. My name is LaJaw Bradley, and today we have a very, very, very special guest with us. Her name is Marie Diamond. She is one of the world's top transformational leaders, star of the major network show, Feng Shui Your Life. She's the best-selling author and expert teacher on the law of attraction and Feng Shui. She is an energy master and was featured in the worldwide phenomenon The Secret, which I know a lot of y'all have watched that movie, so definitely go back, rewatch it, and see Marie in it, okay? After a near-death experience as a teenager, Marie has made it her mission to enlighten 500 million people. That's right, y'all, 500 million people with her teachings and wisdom. A seer in the modern context, Marie merges her profound intuitive knowledge with her extensive studies of quantum physics, which we're going to talk about, because that's the first time I've heard of somebody who does intuitive work and knows about quantum physics. So we definitely going to get into that. Feng Shui and meditation to help her students attract financial success, improved health, long-lasting relationships, and spiritual growth. Please welcome to the show, Marie Diamond. Thank you so much for being here, Marie. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be with you today.
Yeah, it's an honor. Thank you for being on the show. You had this near-death experience as a teenager. What happened? What was that like? And did that lead you to do the work that you do now?
Yeah, so I'm born in Belgium. So in Belgium, every teenager uses the bikes to go to school. And so I was on my way home for lunch when a truck actually passed by and run me over. And I just was declared dead when the ambulance came. And thank God, one of the teachers saw me laying down, rushed to my mom. My mom was just 2 minutes away from the place. And so she asked that they would keep reviving me. And so, but I was already in the ambulance with the sheet over me. And I was seeing my mom and the ambulance guy trying to work on me. And I remember very clearly seeing my mom there thinking, what is she doing here? I mean, I was by myself and looking at the guy and thinking, oh my God, he's so cute. So he was 15, blonde, curly hair. So later on, I verified with my mom, and she was like, how you can't know this because you were dead and you flatlined. And so, and then I left, I went through all like dimensions, like if you take like an airplane and you like flying through all clouds. So I came to like a beautiful piece, like beautiful dimension of light, and there were all beings of light there, and there were 9 of them. I remember I counted them. I was so conscious I counted them, and the middle being said, "You have to go back because you're here to enlighten more than 500 million people." Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay. I mean, it was like, that was just no or yes. It was like, yeah. And okay, and I just went back. Of course, I had to go through a whole healing experience. And one of the things that happened was that because of the accident, my face was completely disfigured. Um, and so they wanted to do plastic surgery, and I refused. I said to my mom, I'm going to heal myself. But you have to understand, I'm from Catholic background. You can't heal yourself. It's Jesus heals you. The saints are healing you, right? But not yourself. So anyhow, I started putting my hands on my face, and a few weeks later, I had the most beautiful skin. And so that's when like my first big change happened. And that is from there, I started saying every day, okay, I'm here to enlighten 500 million people. Show me how. And of course, with The Secret, we have reached that number already. So from a young girl in Belgium, I became a transformation leader globally, a Fengshui Master, and I also became part as only European in The Secret.
Yeah, I think as psychics, we receive knowledge of what we're here to do very early on, right? Well, either through like a vision, through a near-death experience, maybe through interacting with a master who was already enlightened. And it's so interesting because in that moment, we're like, okay, like we don't really have, like, we don't really understand. We're like, I guess this is what we're going to do, like, I guess this is the direction I'm going in. And you don't really see the big picture, until like, 10, 20 years down the future. And you're like, oh, okay,
Correct.
wait, this is how it happened, right? So I can really relate to you with that experience.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, at 15, I had no idea what I was going to do with that, right? So I always say if I would be 15 now, I would start a TikTok account probably. But at that moment, the only thing I could do was start being volunteering in, the church organization, volunteering for the scouts, like as much as I could contribute, even in school, doing voluntary work. So I had no idea what that really meant. I only knew it was making a big difference, but I had no idea. So when I was 18, I literally decided to become a lawyer. And because I thought, like, if I can become a lawyer and a diplomat, I could work in the government. What I ultimately did, I became working for the government of Belgium, later on for the European Union. And so, because I thought, like, if I want to reach millions of people, of course, I had no idea there was something as transformational work at that time, So I had to start somewhere where it felt possible to change.
So I can definitely like relate to that because when I was in high school and even in college, I would volunteer. That was my way of serving the community, people that I really love and support. And I would just volunteer in different contexts, at community gardens or at other schools too, helping out with the youth, like kind of like what is it called? The big brother, big sister type of thing.
Yeah.
And so I love that
Yeah.
because a lot of us who yeah, like you said, kind of lived in the past 20 years, because I feel like now it's more readily accessible to tap into the more spiritual
Correct.
practices, spiritual masters like yourself. Like it's more accessible. But back then it was like, nah, like this is like people listening. There's some Gen Zs being like, wait, what? I'm telling you now, it was not easy. So we had to find other ways to kind of live in service. And I just love that. I love that for you. Yeah. So you chose to work for the government, which is again living in service. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it was like, for me, this is like 30 years ago, right? And so when I then changed from being a lawyer, setting up my spiritual practice and teaching people about meditation, enlightenment, feng shui, I mean, I started like a spiritual center. I mean, literally at that point, everybody thought I was in a cult. Yeah, because I come in a Belgian Catholic background, so people thought, oh, I was in a cult, or others thought I was the leader of a cult. It was really funny because I was totally not looking like a spiritual person because I come from the legal background. So I had a sports car, high heels, nails, colored, makeup, like, very glamorous personality. And so, but I was teaching people about going to the light and reaching enlightenment because I had an enlightenment experience at 26 years old. So it was like, it was really interesting. So the first people I really helped with were, first of all, politicians. Very interesting enough, because I work with politicians and
Mm-hmm.
business people and entrepreneurs that all wanted to really find a way to improve themselves. And it's only then that I started studying really Feng Shui. I got a sample of Feng Shui when I was 15, when my spiritual teacher that I had since I was 7 told me that I had bad Feng Shui when I asked him what I did do wrong to attract such an accident. And so that like he gave me the first steps, you know. But for 15 years, I didn't know more than that. Till at 31, I started studying in Malaysia under a grandmaster. So to know like what it really is Feng Shui. So I'm a classically trained Feng Shui master, even if I was his first European student, right? So it's like with the secret. I was the only Europeans in the secret. So the fact that I'm from Europe is quite interesting, because in that time we were definitely behind with from America. Like in America in the 70s, the 80s, 90s, there was already a lot of transformational work, spirituality. While in Europe, it was very still under the level of the Christian church. So in that sense, what we did was very unique and was not so well received. So it was a lot of, um, you know, energy against what we did. Yeah.
So real quick, you said you studied feng shui in what country was it in again?
Yeah, I studied in Malaysia because my grandmaster lived in Malaysia. It was very interesting. He was a billionaire himself. He was when he was 60, he um, was a kung fu master and a feng shui master, and but he was also a very successful businessman. What I loved about it, so he was very down to earth, and so for me, coming as a lawyer, I love that background very much. And for me, studying feng shui became so easy. It was just like, I know I have studied this in past lives, because it came so easy to me. And I remember at the evenings that I was studying during the day, the other students in the evening would come to my hotel room and I was explaining it to them because they did not get it very well. It was just like something that my brain just resonated with.
And I love that you studied with a grandmaster too. I think that's a lot of people who start practicing these typically Asian arts. They don't study. They don't go to the source to study. And I love that you actually went to the source. You went to a grandmaster and you worked with a grandmaster, because I feel like if you don't go to the source, you're gonna miss a lot of context and a lot of knowledge that you just won't get unless you actually physically go there. So I really love that you
Yeah.
did that.
Yeah, it was, I mean, it was very interesting. Normally, you have to wait like 10 years to be accepted by him. But very interesting. I had met him in London. I saw him teach, and I
Hmm.
was like, this is the one. But still, to get to him. And so 2 years later, I got this dream that he was coming to visit me in my dream. And he was like looking at my body, and I was like sleeping. And he was like, yeah, she's ready. She's ready. So I called his office. I had the number and said, apparently I am ready. And they're like, no, you have to wait 10 years. There's a waiting list to get even connected with him. And I said, you need to really let him know I had this dream. So they explained it to him. And he was like, yeah, she's accepted. And so I only had to wait 2 years.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's amazing. Yeah, but see, I think that's another sign too. Because again, like these grandmasters, like they know they have a really kind of, how do I want to say, they have a very deeper connection than the average person to source. And so yeah, that's what a lot of people don't. That's why again you have to go to the source, because it's like they are really truly tapped in, so they know these things, right? Whereas like I think if you would have gone with somebody maybe in Western, I don't want to say Western, but somebody who wasn't a grandmaster, who hadn't practiced as long as he did, they might not have that same, that same intuitive knowledge to be like, oh no, she's ready. Let's get her in.
Yeah, it's always good to work with somebody that I say had done their 10,000 hours, right? That have years of practice. I'm doing this now 30 years. I'm a master. I could perhaps get very soon my grandmaster acceptance. Um, but I have done thousands and thousands and thousands of people worldwide. I have more than 2 million online students. So it is just like, it's a strong school that we have created. And the beautiful thing of what I do is like I use the traditional feng shui, that's Chinese feng shui. It's not the Bagua system like the American system. It's really traditional feng shui. And I bring it together with the law of attraction, and to see how your home is a quantum physics field. And so to understand the quantum physics part behind it, but at the same time also to see how it influences your neural brain waves, so that you will see that your brain waves can shift by using feng shui. And so I kind of brought the more modern information together with the traditional, and the way I explain it makes more sense in the Western world.
Yeah, so let's talk about the brainwaves because actually I haven't heard of that about that before. So how does feng shui affect the brainwaves? Because I already know the brainwaves. I've been doing a lot of research in like waves, because that's like the meditative state that I think a lot of monks try to get you to go to. But how does feng shui affect that? I've never heard of that before.
Well, first of all, most people are in beta brainwaves, yeah, and so in beta brainwaves, they're living like a normal life, right? And so we all want to get, first of all, into alpha state. Alpha state is our creative side, where we are focusing on the future, we're focusing on solutions. While beta state is we're focusing based on fear, and we're looking at the past. So that's kind of the two major things what we can see. And alpha brainwaves will connect with our frontal cortex, and our beta will connecting more with the reptilian brain. So that's the first thing that we can shift. So how can we do that? Well, very simple. We can sit in a position in the space that you're in, that when you see the door, like literally I'm talking now to you, but I see the door. The moment you see the door, you are in what we call alpha position. So you are in control of the situation. And we have seen with encephalograms that the moment people sit in such a way that they see the people are able coming in, even if they're not coming in, they just, you see that vibration coming in, that within a few seconds you create more alpha brainwaves. That's the first thing. And we've tested that several times. And so if you would sit with your back to the door, yeah, and you would, for example, face a window or face a wall, and the door is behind you, you have a tendency when somebody comes in to always turn yourself around because you feel alert. You're always on alert system. And when we're in alert system, we're always in beta. And so what we have seen, if people are changing their desk in from a what they call a beta position, where they're sitting with their back to the door, into an alpha position, first of all, they get faster concentrated. They are in control of their life. They also see opportunities coming in. They're much more focused towards creativity and towards solutions in their future. So that's a simple change. We have
Get started on your wellness journey today. Whether you are starting your wellness journey in the middle of it or finishing it, this library will help you solve 50 resources on how to jumpstart your wellness. And really, it has so much more than that. It has full guides on how to quantum leap, full guides on how to manifest, and even my personal favorite, coloring books. Yes, and I'm talking unique coloring books because y'all already know who you're dealing with, okay? We have baobab coloring books, cactus plant coloring books, and so much more. And it's completely free. So please make sure to check it out, especially if you're on your wellness journey, or if you know a friend who is on the wellness journey and wants some free resources, please let them know about the wellness library, okay? The link is in the show notes below. I love y'all so much. Let's get back to the show.
tested, and we can even show that with muscle testing, like the kinesiology changes in your body. So that's the first thing. The second thing we have seen is that when people download the app, so they can go to the App Store or the Google Play Store and download my free app, Marie Diamond, they have to put in, they will see that they have to put in a birthday, and they have to put in their birth gender. It's connected with your original DNA. And so that gives a calculation. It's not numerology, it's a different calculation. And so when people do that, they will get a number between 1 and 9, like -5. And then they will be asked to download the diamond compass. It's all in the profile. So my diamond compass gives different directions than somebody else. Yeah. Based on my birthday, I have 4 directions that work well for me. I have a success, relationship, health, and wisdom. So there are 4 directions. When I would look at that direction, so my chakras would connecting with that direction, within 3 seconds we create more alpha brainwaves. Yeah, and there are 4 areas that are blank, they're empty on the compass. If you look at that direction, within a few seconds you go faster in beta. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very special system. So they kind of knew in the original Feng Shui masters that everything around us is almost like a program. Yeah. And so when we connect in with that subconsciousness in the right way, with that quantum field in the right way, that we have access from the 3-dimensional field into our 5th-dimensional field. And it's in that 5th-dimensional field we need to find the direction of the alignment. And so for me, that's, for example, is different than somebody else. It's based on your birthday and it never changes. So when people then look at these directions, they don't only start creating alpha brainwaves, but they also start taking theta, delta, and easier gamma brainwaves. So depending on how long they stay in it, the more they create from the other brainwaves. And so this is how Feng Shui and brainwaves work together.
Okay, so can we get a little bit deeper into the gamma brain waves? How can, I mean, so do people have to go through each level? Is it like beta first and then alpha and then theta and then gamma?
Yeah. So I would say there are certain shortcuts, I would say hacks, right, to get to more delta gamma, right? So the first one is to have the right colors around you. Yeah. So based on your birthday, there will be certain colors that work very well for you, and people can see it around the compass. There's like what we call the quantum colors. Yeah. And
Okay.
so, for example, right now I'm wearing yellow because yellow is my wisdom direction. So by wearing that yellow, for me, creates right away much more delta vibration. Sometimes I will wear gold. It, for example, if I'm in business and I want in business mode and strategy, when I connect with it, I need to wear gold. That's not for everybody. Somebody else can wear blues, other red. It depends on their frequency. So there are 24 quantum colors I identified over the years that when you are wearing them, not only wearing them, but these colors are around you in certain positions like acupuncture, because Feng Shui is in a way an energy system like acupuncture, but acupuncture of your home instead of acupuncture of your body. And so when people move the energy and put the right colors in there, these colors subconsciously create higher frequencies. And then, of course, where to place them. So, for example, in my success direction, I always would put something in pink. I know you have this beautiful pink um, outfit on. So for me, pink is something that always gives me, much more love and much more appreciation from people. So thank you for wearing the pink today. So, but that's kind of what works for me. So, for somebody else, like my daughter, has a total different profile, right? When she sees pink, it's like literally energetic. If she wears pink, like when we check her energy system, it goes down. Yeah. But when she wears green and blues and reds, it's like her energy goes up and she's much more focused. So if she goes to, she, for example, does meditation, she would always wear green. She always feels that she goes faster into gamma when she wears green. Yeah. But when she, for example, goes to college and does exams, she wears blues. Yeah, like a beautiful warm blue, because that's where she gets very concentrated and is very much into delta. So it's really interesting because people don't always know the power of this color. So there's 24 quantum colors that gives us faster access to the quantum physics field.
Okay. And I just want to clarify real quick. So on the app, you already show people what their colors are and how they relate to their compass, right? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I do. So when they look at the app, they will see, for example, my success direction. Above my success is all pinks. Yeah. So
Okay.
there's like the quantum colors are around it actually. Yeah. And so people can find that out. Yeah.
Is it based off of the Chinese zodiac? So, because I've looked up online like my Chinese zodiac, and I found like the colors too on there. Would it be related to that, or?
So it is different. So it is, you have to understand that you can go
Mm-hmm.
with your Chinese astrology sign, of course. And based on your astrology sign, you have, for example, I am a water rabbit. Yeah. So I can wear, for example, watercolors. Yeah.
Okay.
But, you know, that is like more general. Yeah. So the birthday is much more specific. It's the day, the month, and the year. And the 24 quantum colors are actually is when your soul came in on that day. This will give you a certain profile of colors.
Oh, okay, cool, cool. Thank you so much for clarifying. Yeah. Yeah, because I think this actually 2 years ago when I was in Bali, I started to dabble into like Chinese mysticism a little bit. Very, 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 very like barely scratched the surface because I got into Qigong and so I was kind of tapping into that. But it was funny because when I looked at my Chinese zodiac, one of my like unlucky colors was blue, and I love blue, so like I don't know, it was really hard to adapt. So I like that.
So, what is your energy number? Have you checked out your energy number?
I want to say it's 4 or 9. I've downloaded. I've been using the app for a while now. I want to say it's 4 or 9.
So either both 4 and 9s. Blue is their one of their strongest color,
Oh,
by the way. Yeah.
okay.
So yeah, that's why it's much more specific because it's based on your birthday. So it is an energy profile that is really connected when you're born.
We talked about using feng shui for the law of attraction, um, and kind of tapping into those higher brain states when it comes to using feng shui to tap into like the delta and the gamma, which is going to be really interesting for a lot of my audience who's interested in that. The more esoteric aspects of feng shui. Um, is there like so when it comes to like mysticism? What are some other things people can do to kind of so people who are doing spiritual practices or trying to tap into their psychic abilities, is there any specific feng shui advice you would give them in terms of like their feng shuiing their space?
So one of the things I always say to people, we also need to look at how is the space around you as you are meditating. If you do any spiritual practices, in the ancient times, we would go to a temple or we would go to a church where it's first of all very clear and very there's space energetically there for us to find that inner space. So if people say, well, I do meditation, but there's all chaos around them. So then the first thing I would say, start organizing everything, declutter. You cannot go and do spiritual practices with everything around you that is in a mess. That is just not possible. Yeah. So declutter the area where you're at least doing your spiritual practices. Most people don't understand that, but sleeping is also a spiritual practice, because that's where you dream. You go into your other levels. So people say, well, I don't always have the results. And I say, well, look at your bedroom. That's your spiritual practice, is sleeping. And so if there's all mess and chaos around them and on their nightstand, there's all this, tablets and phones, like they cannot really connect with that other field. So, or the higher levels of themselves. So see that also that is very much decluttered. That's the first step. The second step, what I always say, you have 4 directions in your compass, and you will see that people use my app to really practice. So, in the sense that, for example, you do a healing practice, right? For example, you do qigong, or you do yoga, or you do a healing meditation or affirmations. Then look at with your third eye in your heart, look at that healing direction. If you want to work or clear karma of your relationships, then look at your relationship direction. Now, if you're laying down, because it's possible you want to lay down for that, make sure your point of your head is directing towards that direction.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're awake, when you're sitting up, you need to look at it. When you're laying down, your head chakra, your crown chakra has to be pointed towards that direction. If you're doing manifestations, affirmations for success and money, my students take the app and they look where is their success direction. And when they are there, they're doing the mantra, whatever it is for money and success. So this is actually what people can do. Or even if you're studying, you're reading something, you're studying, even if it's on Zoom, and you want to bring more of that information within you, like to be more open to the knowledge, then face your wisdom direction. So that is why my students, they have the app, right? And they all the time turn around. So for example, I remember I was once speaking for 12,000 people. And so I was like, okay, we're going to do a abundance meditation. And so people all take the app and literally turn their chair around to where they are in the right direction. So it was really fun to see everybody was in a different direction. And they have much faster and easier and better results with their practice if they're facing the right angle for manifestation.
It's so important to know where to face to, because I think a lot of people, they practice manifestation, and I think a lot of people, they practice manifestation, but they don't see the results, or maybe it takes them a couple of years. If it, and I already talk about, like, if it takes you a couple of years, then that means that you weren't prepared for that manifestation. That's what that means. We'll go get into that right now. But I love that you have these really simple, easily accessible ways of accelerating those processes. And it's not even really an acceleration, it's just getting you more in
Correct.
alignment with that process, right? But what I love about it is because, somebody who's a digital nomad, and who travels a lot, I don't really have, I don't really have the space to buy all of these big crystals or candles, or sometimes in the locations I can't buy that stuff. But I love that you simply just need to turn your body in a certain direction. It just makes it so easily accessible for everybody to do these things, which I really love, because I really do believe, this work that we're both doing is for everyone. It doesn't matter how much money you have, where you come from, everybody can do these practices.
Yes, correct.
I really love that.
Yeah, it is. And so that's why, they have access for it for free. And so the whole point is, even I mean, I traveled the world, lived in 7 countries, was a nomad for a long time. So I understand the situation, but I always have something with me. Like, for example, I'm in a hotel room. I always have at least a book with me that I can put in my success direction, like my latest book. Um, I have a picture of my family. I can put it in my relationship direction. I have my vitamins and supplements. I can put it in my health direction. So you always try to put, it's like acupuncture. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. And we always have something that we can place there. And we definitely need to make sure that in our good directions, we do not put any clutter. No garbage bin, no, you know, no suitcase that is open full of mess. So we can kind of practice this very simple way. And I do believe feng shui is a way of living. And so one of the things that I've seen, and you mentioned something so powerful, is that a lot of people do law of attraction, they don't have seen the results. And I always go back to what my grandmaster told me. My grandmaster said to me there are 3 parts of the law of attraction. The first part is what he calls the spiritual part, and that is actually your soul comes on this planet with a destiny, with a purpose. And so some people do know it, some people don't, but they can get access to it through practices. Whatever practice, spiritual or religious practice they have, they can connect in with that part of the law of attraction. Who is responsible for 33%? The second part is what we would call your human part. And that is actually by using the right mindset, by having an open heart, to be grateful, to take action. Like what you can do, like let's say as a spiritual destiny, you have a great voice, but in the physical form, you're not using that voice. Yeah, you don't even think I have a good voice. You don't practice your voice. You don't feel good about your voice. You know, that gift will be lost a little bit. Yeah, and so that human part is what we would call in the self-help, self-development, transformational work. We can do a lot about it, but it takes discipline. Yeah, it takes recurrent work. Yeah, and that is also 33%. And then we have the last part is your environment. And so when you're home, where you sleep, where you live, where you work, if that is telling a different story than what you're actually planning with your mindset, what is telling a different story than your sole purpose, then it actually will work against you. Yeah. So I always say it's possible you have a different story playing around like in your three-dimensional vision board. Yeah. So, but if you would align that, then it's easier. And that's what people, when they do my work, they get very fast results. It's like things that they've been trying to manifest suddenly within 9 days to 9 weeks, they have things that start shifting. I mean, literally, sometimes the next day, people are like, oh my God, I got this happening and this happening. It's like it opens the portal to the universe by using your home. That's why I call it Your Home is a Vision Board, and that's my newest book that just came out with Hay House. So it is like, see, you can put things on paper, you can write in a journal, but if your home is telling a different story, it tells a different story 24 hours a day because it's always present. So even if you don't pay attention, it still gives you subconsciously messages.
I love that. You know what? It's hilarious. Like, you definitely intuitive because you said something that is so pointed for me personally, and I didn't even ask a question. But yeah, the voice thing is really funny because that's something that, yeah, like you said, like, I mean, I know I have a good voice, but then there's those thoughts that it's like, okay, like, because I have a good voice, but it's not like consistent yet. So like that discipline part, it really plays a huge part in that, right? And I've been disciplined off and on, but you got to be consistent with it, right? But then having those tools, right? Like putting maybe like my recording mic in my success direction, right? That might help
Correct.
me like be like, okay, I want success.
Yeah,
Let
for
me,
sure.
that visual subconscious reprogramming. But that, yeah, that's hilarious that you mentioned that. So anyway, but let's talk about that subconscious reprogramming because for a lot of people, I mean, it's either one of the two, right? Either because on the conscious level, they know what they want, they know what they want to attract. But a lot of people, they seem to really struggle with hacking that subconscious part, right? And a great way of exemplifying this is like, maybe, in your waking life, when you're up, um, you're saying your affirmations, you're intending, you're visualizing, but when you go to sleep, you still have these dreams of anxiety or of like being stuck in the same cycle. So how does feng shui really help that reprogramming of your subconscious mind?
Yeah. Well, I'm going back a little bit to the clutter. First of all, it's like, understand that everything around you is affecting you. And the first thing, people that have a lot of anxiety is that there's just too much around them. Yeah. So they have to, it's like, think about making things more zen, more calmer, especially in the bedroom. It's very important because a lot of people go to bed, they feel anxiety, they wake up in the morning, they feel anxiety. So I always say, what is in your bedroom? What hangs above your headboard? If, for example, I was just talking to somebody today and she's like, I look at her bedroom and I said, you're very anxious. And she's like, how do you know that? Well, it's because she has an image of waves, like an ocean, above her headboard. And so I always say, subconsciously, you're like literally drowning. Like literally, the water is all the time over you. So images of water in a bedroom, when people release that and they let that go, they always feel calmer and more peaceful and less anxious. It's a very simple thing. The second thing is mirrors in the bedroom. So when people have mirrors in the bedroom, that could be a TV that's reflected, it could be a closet that is with mirrored doors. What happens, and there are some tests that have been done in the University of Beijing, is that when people have mirrors reflecting them, first thing that happens, they start having more white blood cells, more inflammation, and the blood pressure goes up.
Wow.
Yeah. So the moment they cover the mirrors, could be a television that you cover with a shawl or a towel, or you put a screen or curtains, or you take the mirrors away if you can. The first thing that people always say to me, Marie, I sleep so much better. Yeah. I fall asleep easier, I wake up easier. Yeah. So because a mirror reflects and doubles your anxiety, your stress level, you come to bed, and most people, they haven't really let go of their stress before they go to bed. Yeah. So they haven't showered, they haven't walked, they haven't done any meditation. So they're most of the time that stress is still in their aura field. And so the mirror at night, even if it's dark, it reflects that. Yeah. So it doubles the energy. So, and of course, if you're single, definitely cover the mirrors, because otherwise you double your loneliness. So you don't want to have that either. So that are like two steps that I've seen people tremendously shift the energy. And then also think about colors. In a bedroom, I always suggest not to have too much red, because red can be a beautiful color to activate passion and so on. But if you have like all red curtains, red floors, red walls, it's all like I'm going into an alert system. Yeah. Because there's like fire around you. Red stands for fire. So would you sleep if you're surrounded by fire? So remove too much red. Just a small little accents is fine. The second is blue, again, water, because if you have too much water images around you, but also literally the color of water, people are more anxious because they're surrounded with too much water. Yeah. So the best colors to have a calm and peaceful energy in your house is to work with earth tones. That's like beiges, browns, yellows, oranges, pinks. Um, Especially in the bedroom, calms the energy down. Also, you can work with metal colors, white, silver, golds. So that always calms the energy down. But just try to avoid all the blues and all the reds.
Get started on your wellness journey today. Whether you are starting your wellness journey in the middle of it or finishing it, this library will help you so much. It is a free wellness library with over 50 resources on how to jumpstart your wellness. And really, it has so much more than that. It has full guides on how to quantum leap, full guides on how to manifest, and even my personal favorite, coloring books. Yes, and I'm talking unique coloring books, because y'all already know who you're dealing with, okay? We have baobab coloring books, cactus plant coloring books, and so much more. And it's completely free. So please make sure to check it out, especially if you're on your wellness journey, or if you know a friend who is on the wellness journey and wants some free resources, please let them know about the wellness library, okay? The link is in the show notes below. I love y'all so much. Let's get back to the show.
Okay. You know what's so interesting? So, because I was going to ask you about feng shuiing while traveling, because I know there's a lot of digital nomads listening. But real quick, I just want to say the room that I'm in, because I travel a lot. I'm pretty sure it's feng shui, because I mean I'm kind of my right shoulder is facing the door, which we'll talk about in a second. But the door to the wall on the opposite end is clear, which I know that's a feng shui thing. The mirror is actually not even in the room part. It's actually like, I guess the mirror is facing the door of the bathroom. And there's a clear pathway from the wardrobe to this wall here. Anyway, and then the colors are beige, just earth tones. So I don't know, it's just when you were saying that, I was like, whoa, I think these people know a little bit something about feng shui, because everything that you said, like,
It's good, yeah. So well, it's the first step is always to become aware of how do you feel there, right? So when people say, "Oh, I go to sleep as late as possible," or "I fall asleep on the couch," I avoid going to sleep. Then it means your instinct is saying something is off. Yeah. If people say, "Oh, I love my bedroom. I love sitting there. I love working there," so then it means it's positive. We have an antenna, an inner antenna that feels the energy, the chi. And we know that if we go to a restaurant or a place and we're like, I love that place, I always go there. And then other place we're like, you visit it once and you're like, oh, I don't like the vibe. Yeah. So we have an inner antenna that we sometimes don't practice enough. But you have to understand Feng Shui is the energy system to make sure that even if your antenna is off or you feel it's not great, that you can still ameliorate it, enhance it to make it a good space.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I see. Yeah, I mean, so that was the other thing too. When I came here, I was like, oh, this is good. Like it's a very calm space. And then, I mean, above the bed, it's like a multicolored painting. I don't, or three paintings. So I don't know if that's, but it's multiple colors. So I think it's fine, right? So I don't know.
It is fine. Sometimes you have to think about what is it representing. When something is too abstract, like an abstract image, then you won't manifest so easy your goals because it's too abstract. You stay too much in the mental field. Yeah. So I rather have above a headboard or to put a quote. What hangs above your headboard is connecting with what you're manifesting. So you can put like a quote there or hearts or an image, or you're in a partnership, you can put a picture of you and your partner. So you need to think, I go to bed, what is the last thing I see before I go to bed? Yeah. And then when you wake up, what hangs on the other side of your bed? What is the first thing you see there? Yeah. So it's always the first images or the last image is going to affect you. Yeah. So I would say, yeah, if you're there for just under the 9 days, I would say the moment you're 9 days in a place, it will start affecting you really. Yeah. So the more sensitive you are, the faster it will affect you. But most people, 9 days, but then after the 9 days, whatever is there is affecting you. So I sometimes, I go to Airbnbs or go in hotels, I literally take things off, and I put it away because it's just not a positive. So it's better to have nothing than to have the wrong thing.
Okay, I love that. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, because that was one thing, I followed a lot of the work that you do. And, for somebody who's a digital nomad, sometimes I just have one room. I don't have like the living room and the bedroom and and then some of the stuff that you practice. So I remember one thing that you said was for your success direction or your office, right? You wanted your office to be outside of the bedroom.
Well, it's not always possible, but the best way would be to not have your office or where you work in the bedroom. Why? Because it's a different task of your body. So when you're sleeping or making love in your bed, that's not the same as working and making money, right? So if you can, try to work, for example, in a living space or a family room. I would definitely avoid a kitchen because in a kitchen you have the sink and the stove, and you're always losing money when you work in your kitchen, except if you're a chef of the chef cuisine, right? They have to work there, right? So if you have a space that it's one open space, I remember I started there too. I started in a small studio, right? And I would get a screen, yeah, like a Japanese screen or something. And so where I was working, I would make sure I could see the door. That was important. But then I would put a screen in front of my bed so I would subconsciously not see that I was going to sleep because my brain is like, what do I do? Do I sleep? Do I work? And then when you're sleeping, put that screen in front of your desk so that your brain is like, I'm not going to focus on work anymore. I'm focusing on sleeping. So just that simple trick has been practiced by thousands of people. And it's very interesting. People that work and sleep in the same place, they have a harder time to move forward in their success. The moment they put a screen in and they kind of cover this, yeah, that is actually a solution. Now, there's an alternative if you don't are able to do that, is let's say you're working and you have your bed and you see your bed. Make sure instead of making it as a bed, put some of the pillows in such a way that it looks like a sofa. Yeah, and put like something nice on the bed, like a nice cover or something, and you put your pillows against the wall so it feels like it becomes a sofa. Yeah, and then when you're sleeping and you look at your desk, put a fabric, something nice over the desk so you don't see anything that looks like a desk. So this is a practice I've done, and it really, really works. So it's like your brain will be more focused on your work or on your sleep, and you'll be more in balance.
Talking about like feng shuiing a space, where it's just one space, and kind of separating, kind of, how do I want to put this, like separating the work that you do, depending on where you're doing the work, if that makes sense, right?
Correct. Yeah. It's dividing the tasks of the things, the practices, what you do there, right? So, because that's why a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people have told me that they were stuck in that one space. And the moment they start dividing things and give it all its own identity, they start seeing that they were easier to get out of that one bedroom or that one room space.
Oh, okay. So by clearing up the space. Oh, wow. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. Okay. Yeah, because it's funny because I've been, I guess, told that my space is gonna expand soon. So that's interesting. So for people who want to kind of upgrade their life, move into a bigger home, feng shui can actually help them bring that into their life and manifest that.
Yeah, it does. Like I literally started practicing feng shui in a studio, right, where everything was open, and now I live in Bel Air, Los Angeles, so in $1 million home. So I'm just telling you, it really works, right? It's just like each time upgrading your space. Yeah, it could be with colors, could be with a beautiful plant, even if it's a fake plant and you cannot have anything else. Just upgrade. People want always to reach their $1 million dreams, but they don't understand that you have to start practicing that where you are and see your space as $1 million place. Yeah. So if you don't see it like this, how can you ever attract that?
I love that. I love that. Yeah, right. Because a lot of people that I know, they are, I guess in the past, right? This is when I was younger, but I would go to friends' houses and they're like, oh, I'm tired of, like, they have that energy of like, I don't like where I'm living, right? It's so cluttered, it's so messy. And when they're stuck in that energy, that's what they're going to be attracting too. So it's not going to give them the energy to expand where they live.
You have to start where you are, right? Literally, because you can project something you want, but if your own space is not cleaned up, is not
Mm-hmm.
organized, if not have some beautiful colors around it, like when you feel like, well, at least I feel at home where I am, and I honor that space. It's like the universe saying, I'm not going to give you a bigger space. You don't even honor that small one.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, that's what the y'all listen up. That's what the universe is saying for some of y'all. So how do we apply this in business? So I mean, so let's start with that studio because I think a lot of people might be at that place right now. But how do we start to apply that in business, right? So for example, with the house example, right? You're like, let's clear up the space as if it's $1 million space. How can you clear up the energy, the feng shui of your business, and allow for more to come in?
Okay, so the first thing is, anyone that is in business, could be a coach, could be a healer, could be an entrepreneur, they have something that we would call a certificate, right? Or they have a logo. So I would always suggest to people to take that logo and put it in a gold looking frame. It does not have to be real gold, right? A gold looking frame, and put it in your success direction, or at least put it when you come into the space and say, I'm at this home, right? But putting your certification in your success direction, that's the first thing I always would
Okay.
say, right? Wherever that might be in the space that you are. The second thing is that in order to attract abundance, we need to work with water. The element water is the element of abundance and money. So for this year, where as we're talking in 2024, they literally can look for a bubbling fountain and put it in the east section of their space.
Mm.
If that's a studio, if it's a bedroom, but at night, take it out. Just don't plug it in because you don't want running water at night. Yeah. If I'm losing you. Yeah, let me see. Just hold on. We're reconnecting. Yeah, okay. I- I'm back. Yes. So At night, I wouldn't put it on if you're also sleeping in that space. Like, for example, in my office, I don't sleep here, so I keep the fountain on day and night because I make money day and night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's people always buying something day and night for me, right? So you can also put that fountain in the east of your living room. Now, in the new book, Your Home is a Vision Board, you will actually see for the next 10 years where you have to put each year your little fountain. So that you always need to get money flowing, and that's one of the things I would suggest. A third step I would give you is add golden things around you. Yeah. So, for example, it could be like a pot of gold. So I have, for example, gold, a golden pot, and I put some fake golden coins, ingots. It's also
Mm-hmm.
a third thing. What you can do is get something gold looking on your desk, and you can even put like fake uh, golden coins or something in it. Yeah, because as you're seeing it, and I have it always on my desk, it's like I see all the time money,
Mm-hmm.
right? So energetically, adding things with gold around you will affect your frequency because we all want to be on a golden level, the golden standard. We want to be like the golden medal in the Olympic Games. So having gold around us gives us an opening to abundance.
Mm-hmm. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so that gold is really powerful. This doesn't matter like what your number is, right? This is for everybody, right?
It's for everyone. It works
Okay,
for
cool.
everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I've been working with gold, I think for the past like 6 months now. Just wearing it, but wearing it with intention, right? I think that's the other thing that people forget when they do a
Yeah.
lot of this manifestation work, a lot of attraction work. They forget the intention, which is the most important part. It's the most important part. You know, a lot of people work with crystals and stuff, but they never do the intention. And so, you know, there's two things that can happen. One, either it won't manifest, or two, it's going to manifest, but maybe not in the way that you wanted, right? Because you never set that intention in the first place. So that intention is just so powerful. So what are some of the intentions people can make when they work with gold, to help them kind of bring more of that into their life?
Well, in Feng Shui, I'm a big believer that you can place something, but you also have to put it with intention. So if you, for example, put gold there and say, like, I put it there, universe, I put gold there because I am attracting abundance. I place a crystal there to activate my relationship. So
Mm-hmm.
always speak it out loud why you put something. I'm changing my desk because I want to be more powerful. I remove this because that is what's going to happen. So always speak it out loud. It's like you're talking to your house, but at the same time, you're talking to the universe. This is what I'm doing. So I always like when I paint something, I say, look, I'm painting this color here because I want to have more joy. Like I always use to speak out because the house is a living being energetically in the quantum field. So use it and connect with it.
I love that. I love how you said that your house is a living being, right? Because just, you know, viewing your house, for those of y'all who are listening, like, it's really going to help you connect into that limitless mindset, that limitless field, the field of really seeing nothing as separate from you and that everything is connected to you, right? This is a way that you can practice that by communicating with your home, what you want to bring more into your life, what you want, what you desire, um, and kind of the intention behind that too. But just being in constant communication with the space that a lot of us spend the majority of our lives within, right? Like it's really important to make that connection and to make that connection with intention and with relationship to, you know, our environment that we surround ourselves with. Because it's really supposed to be a reflection of you at the end of the day. And so, real quick, you know, a lot of our audience are parents, they're mothers, really. Um, when it comes to how can we use feng shui to help promote kind of the healthiest or the best lifestyle for our children?
Well, I'm a mother of three children, so my children have been going for the last 30 years through a feng shui journey with me. So the first thing I always would say to people, and go back to the bedroom, because the anchoring of the child is in the bedroom, first of all. So what hangs above the headboard? What do they see around them? Is that supporting them? Yeah. Sometimes I see people, children, and they have, um, soccer players running over them or cars running over them above the headboard. So make things a little bit calmer in the bedroom. Like, it's good to play certain things, but it can be too much. Yeah, I always feel children's rooms are too overloaded. Yeah. So calm it down, teach your children how to put everything in a box at night for their toys. Make sure the box is covered, that it's not see-through, so they don't see it. So there's not like, oh, I want to play again, right? So it's like it's covered, it's in the corner. Their success direction, very powerful. They can put a cork board there. I always suggest that because kids always have new dreams and they have new ideas, perhaps a new painting you can hang out that they have in their success direction. In the relationship direction, put a picture of you with your child in their bedroom so they get along with you, with the parents, but also with their siblings. Yeah. So they have that there, or even an image of them with their classmates so that they feel like it's in a positive vibration. Um, Definitely when your kids are growing up, I see too many times that people in their living room, the family room, they have children pictures out, but then they're pictures of like when they're babies. Yeah, I would say keep the pictures current. Like there was this guy, and he said to me like, my mom treats me as a baby. So I said, okay, let me look at your mom's bedroom and living room, and it was like they were all pictures of him as a baby. Yeah. So I said, why don't you take some pictures in the next barbecue or the next, Christmas holidays? Take pictures, many pictures, and move them all around, and make sure that, she sees you literally subconsciously also as an adult, and you start having a much better relationship with his mother. So just small little things can really improve their relationship with them.
I love that. Okay, cool. That's so funny because I know a lot of parents who do that. They have kids, pictures of their baby, like their kids when they're babies. And that's hilarious because they keep on seeing the baby, so they're gonna keep on thinking that, their kid is little, Um, that's beautiful. And okay, so when it comes to a playroom, right? So I guess ideally, right, a children's bedroom would just be to sleep, and then they'll have a separate playroom. But what if they don't have that separate playroom? What if, is there an ideal place in the house for them to play, or should they have like a corner in their room, or?
Yeah, I mean, they can even have a corner in their bedroom, but don't put it too close to their bed again. Yeah. And again, it's a little bit the same as with if you're working and sleeping in the same place. Literally, you're creating a different focus. Yeah. So it could be that you cover the play area, you put a screen in front of it, or you make sure that all the toys are in a box that is covered, that is not see through, so you put it away, so but further away from the don't put the toys on the bed or under the bed. It's too close where they're
Okay.
sleeping. Yeah, so keep it further away as much as possible, and if you can, put it in the family room. But also, one of the things I've seen many times, that people come in their house and the first thing they see is the toys of the children. Now that means that the children will dominate the space. Yeah, so do not put the children toys first as you come into the house.
Okay, I see. Okay, okay, okay. But is it okay to put it like in a bin in like the family room or something like that? Is that okay, or? Okay, okay.
Yeah, of course, but just not like at the entrance. You already come in, there's already so much toys there. Try to avoid that.
Last question I'm going to ask, and then we're going to wrap it up. So you've done all of this work. You've worked with I think millions of people when it comes to feng shui. Where do you see yourself expanding from here?
Well, last year I became very clear to me that I have to bring feng shui mainstream. So that is why I created a TV show called Feng Shui Your Life that is now on Fox Network. what in America means mainstream. We're going also to go on Discovery. We'll do our second season. We're doing next year a PBS show. So we really want to bring Feng Shui as massive as possible. And of course, my focus is to the book Your Home is a Vision Board that comes out now is going to be a classic for people in the law of attraction and manifestation to understand that your home is part of what you're creating and manifesting. So that's actually the focus I have, and keep going and reaching millions of people.
I love that because some people they do the vision board and stuff like that, but I love the idea of just creating your space to be your vision board, right? Because sometimes the vision board can be very cluttered, it has a lot going on. But again, when you transform your space, you're tapping into your subconscious. You're reminding your subconscious what you want to bring into your life. So I'm excited for the book. I know our audience is gonna be excited too. You guys can definitely check out more of the work by Marie Diamond on Instagram and on YouTube. Both of them, she gives an abundance of insights into how to feng shui your whole life, y'all, your whole life. So I'm really excited for the work that you continue to do. And of course, y'all can download her free app. I've been using this for a while now. It is so resourceful and it has more than the compass. It has videos that can help you kind of learn the basics of feng shui that'll really allow you to kind of bring in just a lot more abundance into your life, use that law of attraction, and really just start to live more in alignment. Okay, because remember, our space is also a reflection of our heart's desires. So Marie, would you like to say any last words before we head out?
Well, I want to thank you for having me on the show, and I also want to thank you personally for the great transformation you're bringing in people's life with the podcast and your personal work. Because a host sometimes always thanks the guest, but I want a guest, as I am today, your guest, also thank the host for what they do in the world. Thank you for that.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love my show. I love the work that I do. And I'm just, yeah, again, very grateful for you to be on here and share your work and your transformation story. Okay, y'all. Well, I will see y'all next week. I love y'all so much. Peace.